I always say to my friends, I didn't choose the poker life, it chose me. I've been thinking a lot lately about why some of us can play this game for a living, a game that requires no physical attributes, unlike sports, and why some people sort of uh, stay stagnant at the small stakes and never kind of move up. And what's going on here? And so I came up with a few reasons why I believe you are not a professional poker player. Don't take this the wrong way, guys, but it's just not cut out for everyone. So we'll hop right into it. It was hard for me to think of the number one reason why I believe people are stuck in poker. And I think this reason is the one that is actually the underlying problem of most of the people stuck in poker, and that is you are not playing enough volume. So a lot of times I see people complaining about, they get their aces cracked for 100 big blinds and they're struggling to make it back that whole month. And it's like, well, how much are you playing? Let me tell you a little story. One of my favorite authors, his name is David Foster Wallace. He wrote an amazing book about tennis, and he said eventually it becomes quite clear from the players that are playing, a typical 2 to 3 hours a night after school, and then the kids that are playing 6 hours a day. And that difference of maybe 4 to 5 hours, maybe more, maybe less, but that adds up over a few months or weeks or years. And this is the same thing with every game. The difference between a professional and a amateur in every game that exists, if it's a sport, if it's poker, chess, every game that you've ever played, every activity that you've ever done in life, cooking, mountain climbing, skateboarding, the reason why your grandmother is better than you at Scrabble or word search is because she plays it more than you. When you start putting in the volume for poker, it's not that you iron out the variance. That's not the only reason that you should put in more volume and what happens when you put in more volume, but your brain starts to see tons of patterns. You start to have high pattern recognition. You start to understand how the game feels. I suggest to you, for people who can't necessarily play over 20 hours a week of poker and want to make this maybe their full time, or if you want to get a lot better at the game, is play online. Not only will you be playing against people who are actually trying to win and who have studied solvers, studied GTO, etc., you will see how the game actually flows, and that being quote unquote card dead doesn't really exist online, because you can play 3, 4, 5, 6 tables at once. There's no shuffling and dealing like in real life, so you are getting you can get 20 times as many hands. You can play a month's worth of poker in a 2-day span that you would normally play live, and you start feeling the game better. You start seeing things, not just tendencies of what people do, but how the cards come out, card distribution. This is the underlying problem for lots of people, and I think it's a problem that is only that is kind of tied with my second note here, and I'll explain that further, why it ties in. The second reason why you are not a professional poker player is the hardest reason to come to the grips with, and that is you are too egotistical. You don't leave your ego at the door. You aren't humbled by the sickness of this game or life in general. I don't know if it's a generational thing. I don't know if it's how you were raised or whatnot, but this game has no room for an ego. You lose a lot in this game when you make the right decision, and people can't handle that. They can't handle fish. I am a huge culprit of not being able to handle some certain personality types at the table. Extremely combative, loud people do not mesh well with my personality specifically, and I've recognized that, and I need to work on that. And sometimes we want to fight people at the table because they're a fish, or they don't deserve it, or they don't study as much as you've studied, and or they're raising with seven deuce off, and they're raising 4-3 offsuit, and they bink their cards when you have ace king or pocket aces, and you deserve to win, right? No, you don't deserve anything. That's not how this game works. The reason why this game is so beautiful, and the reason why so many people can make a living off of it, people who aren't even that smart or even not even that good at poker, the beauty of the game is also the problem or the annoying part of the game, and that is anyone could win at any given time. Yes, in the long run, pros win or the studied person wins, but you need to stop thinking that you matter in the universe. I mean, think about life in general. Poker is a microcosm of life. You don't deserve to cut traffic because you need to get on to work on time. Yeah, so does everyone else. You don't deserve to hit the lottery because you need the money. Everyone needs the money. You don't deserve the ace on the river or the club on the river, whatever it may be. It's just how it goes. And stop thinking that you're above people, and stop thinking. This game humbles you so fucking fast. I mean, part of my language, but and I know that I've struggled with this so much in the past, but it's disgusting to me when I see some young pro yelling at the fish. And listen, I've done it. I do it all the time. But that part of me is dying. It's almost dead. I just laugh at the people now. And a lot of it is you need to look inward. You need to look on what you need to work on off the table. You need to work on how you view the game and how you practice the game, and how these people, if you're a pro, they're your customers, and it's a good thing that they don't understand frequent c-bet frequencies and check raise turn frequencies and stuff like that. You're not special. The game doesn't care. It's just like Mother Nature. It doesn't care. Play your game and move on. Stop complaining about bad beats. Leave your ego at the door. You will never be good at anything in life if you're still egotistical about anything, okay? And the third reason, and like I said, all this stuff ties in together. The first two reasons lead into the third reason for a lot of people. And that third reason is you don't study enough. And you don't study out of your comfort zone, which leads to not you making less deliberate studying. So what deliberate studying is, they use this term a lot in golf and tennis, in any sport that has a high technique ceiling. Is in baseball you would probably use it too. Is deliberate studying is when, or deliberate practice is when you practice a very specific thing. So in golf or in tennis, you might study just your backswing for like 2 hours, or maybe your whole week is dedicated to your backswing. In golf, you just hit out of the sand for 2 hours. You do the stuff in your game that you need to figure out. You need the weaknesses in your game. In poker, that would be when it comes to the technical side of the game, not the mental side, although you need to work on the mental side. It is crucial. Is you need to study more than just hand histories. It's great to study hand histories with a group of people that are smart and think about the game in like a very deep way, but like you need to change your approach to the game, your method of thinking eventually. And I understand that like studying game theory optimal strategy doesn't always apply to low stakes or many games, almost any stake, any game in general that's not online, especially. GTO doesn't even matter, but you need to constantly work on improving, or you're just going to be left in the dust, and you're going to be at times you're just going to have such leaks in your game, regardless if the player is good or bad, because fish sometimes make good plays. You need to deliberately work off the table. Studying is not always fun. I personally am very lucky that I can study poker and not really get bored. I remember in an interview with this tennis star, if you remember, I believe it was Maria Sharapova, and she was being interviewed by someone famous. I think Tim Ferriss, and she said that practice never bothered her. She was able to, she had to catch 2 buses and get on the train for like 2 hours wherever she lived when she was young, and go to practice and just hit a ball against a wall 200 times in a row while everyone wanted to just play and like scrimmage each other. And she had like no problem. Well, I don't care about the bus ride. I don't care that I have to do this mundane stuff. Studying poker could be mundane, if just to like look in the background of my screen here, like you have to look at these charts and everything, and you got to look at like frequencies and what am I doing with this hand and Jack 10 off, and some of this stuff gets very mundane, and I understand like I said, sometimes the minutia of it, you can get lost, especially at low stakes, but like this game isn't about having fun if you want to be a winner. In the job description of any job that you've ever had, I don't know if like fun should be there. So for those of you who just want to learn by playing, you're going to be capped at your skill level, and that's just the truth. You need to study. Now, you don't have to study the solver every single day. You don't have to study GTO, but just think about the game and deliberately practice certain things in the game. Like, for example, like when I have a hand history, and I don't send too many hand histories anymore because I've gone over probably 5,000 hand histories in my life, maybe more. I study very specific parts of the game, and I can't go into too much of it, but I take the time out of my day, as you should, as any pro should, to deliberately practice a certain aspect of your game or the game in general that you need to work on. And that, yeah, you could practice the mental game too, but you need to take time out of your day and actually study. And my last reason, and again, like all these kind of go into the same, all connect to each other. And this could be an ego thing sometimes, but my last reason is that you're not a professional poker player, and everyone knows this, is bankroll management. Sometimes your ego, which was my second reason, makes you want to play in a game that you just shouldn't be in, at a stake you shouldn't be in, and you just think, oh, the game's so soft, but yeah, it's 2 or 3 stakes above my current stake. You might only, let's just say you have $10,000 in the bank, and all of a sudden a 10-25 game opens up, and it's literally 7 fish that you've seen at the PLO game playing each other. You look around, there's no pro in sight. You're like, oh my God, this is the softest game in the world. But you only have $10K in your bank account. The average pot is like $300 going to the flop. You could lose $3K in one hand. You could lose $10K in one hand. I mean, it just depends on the stake, but you get what I'm saying. I know everyone talks about bankroll management, but like honestly, guys, this is like the reason why those guys at your current poker room dominate you, is because they can afford losing and they don't care about losing. This reason alone has cleared up so much mental space, and it's made me so much less stressful when I play at this, when I'm bankrolled enough for the current stake that I'm playing. There's a reason why I am still grinding 2.5 and 5.10, because I don't have $1 million in the bank. I don't, when 5.10 runs, I don't run to it unless it's the softest game, because it's all about bankroll management. Again, check your ego at the door. You don't need to be playing in the highest stake at your casino. You just need to play at a game that you think you can beat. The question I get a lot from people who are just starting off, they ask me, I can't beat 1-2 or 1-3, whatever the lowest live stake is, and I can't move up because I don't make enough money at my job. And I think I would be better off playing 2.5, 5.10, 10-20, whatever your casino runs. And I just say, that's life. Just like poker, you need to have a bankroll to cover the game you're playing. I don't abide by the hard rules of 20 buy-ins, 30 buy-ins, 50 buy-ins. It just should be enough so that when you bet 100 big blinds, you don't need to, take out a loan at Quicken Loans or whatever it's called. You need to be comfortable betting at all times in your game. And if you only have $2,000 in your bank account, you can play 1-2, but you got to make sure you can beat 1-2 or 1-3. That's just life. You need to do other things to gain a bankroll. Life is not going to be easier when you go up in stakes in poker. You think it is, because players respect your raises, or some bullshit fish lingo that you guys use. Players respect my raises. I want people to not respect my raises, so I put it in with the best hand. They call me down. But anyways, life will not be easier when you go up in stakes. It will be harder. So just work hard to get the money to feel comfortable where you're at. Thank you, guys. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and have a good one. See ya.